So happy to see you,
You
Ella.
too. How's your day going?
It's going good. Very gloomy here in New York, so I feel like I have to take that extra effort to just get myself up and going?
I can't say the same for Miami right now. Triple outside, but I understand. I saw you did make it to ballet class
Yes,
today. So
yes. Makes such a huge difference for me mentally.
definitely, I'm the same.
Yeah. Well, Ella, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you sharing your time with us. So I'd love for you to just introduce yourself, then we'll get the conversation started.
Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Ella Titus. I'm a dancer in Miami City Ballet. I went up to the school. I was an apprentice. You may have seen me on Strictly Ballet. That was going back many moons ago now, but I've been in the company for 10 years in the corps de ballet, and I love it. Right now, we are about halfway through our season. We have three more programs to go, and then one more little extra tour, just one like the summer to finish off our season. So that's where I am at right now. And I live in Miami Beach, right across from the ballet studios.
That's nice. That's an easy commute, which helps. Ella, I'd love to hear about your journey as a dancer. I feel like time flies because already 10 years in the company. Like, where does time go? I would love to hear about just your time being there and how your relationship with dance has maybe shifted just throughout your professional career.
Yeah, so I started out in the school. I moved to Miami Beach when I was 14. I'm originally from Clearwater, Florida. So I
Mm,
moved here, went to high school here. By the time I was 16, I was asked to be an apprentice, which is amazing. So I was,
mm,
balancing all the high school classes and the company rehearsals and the school rehearsals and how that goes. So I spent 2 years I was an apprentice before I joined the corps de ballet. So yeah, 10 years has been a long time. It's
mhm.
a full decade of Miami City Ballet, and I've been through so many different phases of the company. I am still in the corps de ballet. So I am one of those dancers that has not been promoted. And I do dance with the corps still, which I think is very special too. And I love being a part of the corps de ballet. I do. Um, but I'd say when I started the company, I was new to it. It was all new to me. I was learning how to manage my time, learn all the choreography, get to the theaters myself, which was new to me, and live by myself. So I went through those, starting years, and I started to get a little more comfortable, as you do. Now I'm at the point where I'm definitely more senior core. So chances are I know the choreography already, and helping the other girls with the steps and or the counts. I think everything that we're performing this season, I have actually performed before, minus our new staging of Carmen. So
Mm.
kind of nice because I can take a little mental back seat since I know the steps. It's not as scary when I get on the stage. Apologies, I start barking. And here we go.
Really great point in regard to finding a level of comfort. I mean, being in the court presents so many of its own challenges. The amount that you are learning and the amount that you're dancing and doing on a day to day and just having to know is remarkable, honestly. So, through those 10 years, I'd also love to hear about when you started to make the connection between nutrition and food and your dancing, because I know it plays a huge role in your day to day.
Nutrition plays a really big role, and I wish it's something I realized earlier in my career. I had years where maybe I wasn't eating enough or feeling myself in the right way, or just kind of overthinking what I was eating, which I think is common. When you're starting out in the company, you don't really know what works for you, and you're trying to balance all these schedules and be at your peak. Kind of expected to be at your peak all the time, which
Mhm.
is the challenge because chances are your body isn't always going to be there, whether that's your dancing skill or how you're while you're fueling your body. But I think in the past few years I've just learned to listen to my body more. Sometimes you're going to be starving after performances and you can eat everything in the world, and sometimes you just might not need as much. It depends on the day, and I kind of have to figure out what works for me. I'm very consistent with what I eat, especially in the morning to get me ready for a dance day. I'm
Mhm.
not to like try a new menu item first thing in the morning before a show, but there are some dancers who are like that, and I'm jealous of them. Um, but yeah, it's been a lot different from the start of me being in the company till now. And I think as you age too, your body changes and you have to adapt with that.
Yeah, yeah, such a great point, especially in regard to the ebb and flow of just the natural ebb and flow of our bodies and the response to food, right? So some days feeling hungrier than other days, but at the same time, still having to hone in on the importance of nourishment and needing to fuel our bodies consistently, which you really portray beautifully. Um, Also, just like a really good point that you bring up is that one of the biggest challenges that we see with dancers at many different stages of their career and also pre-professional training is just the intent behind wanting to fuel their bodies comes from such a good place of wanting to really support their dancing and support their goals. But because a dancer's lifestyle, especially at like 16, I mean, you started in the company at 16, that's being forced into a very independent lifestyle at a very young age, right? So to have to understand how much and what is going to fuel you well, that's a lot for a 16-year-old to have to know and understand. And that's where we often see exactly what you said, a lot of that unintentional underfueling. So I'm glad that, over time you were able to really learn to listen to your body and understand what that means for you, whether it's consistency in the mornings, challenging yourself with more variety at any other given point in your day or your week or your performance season. So I often call this the healthy dancer body of evidence, because we really learn to hone into what our bodies are telling us and that response from our meals. You know what I mean? How do we feel? Do we feel energized in classes? Do we feel supported? So I love hearing that over time you've been able to really capture that and develop that, right?
Definitely, like you said, it takes a while to figure out what works for your body, and there
Mm-hmm.
are those that we discussed before. Something that's been new for me in the past year and a half is I'm now engaged. I'm getting married soon. I did move in with my now fiance, and we eat at different times. We eat different
Mm-hmm.
when you're eating together with someone. This might be the same for any dancers who have roommates that are collaborating on food. You kind of have to figure out what works for both of you too. And sometimes I feel like maybe it's just me thinking this, but men really love a big meal. So it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of realized like, oh, I should be eating more big hearty meals. Not that I wasn't before. So it's been good for me to live with him and be like, okay, we're cooking steak tonight. Love it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's definitely very eye-opening too once you start living with somebody else, or like you said, I work with a lot of dancers who are dorming together and having to coordinate their preferences, just even for budgeting, like helping to coordinate communal, whatever they're purchasing and wanting to keep in their dorms or their apartments. It's hard. And I do love that, having to aim for flexibility. Actually, you said something about this earlier. Flexibility is huge. Just learning to um, go with the flow when you have to, but also because your schedule is very unique and very intense, knowing that you need to maybe spread out your meals and snacks more throughout the day rather than just focusing on very large meals 3 times a day, right? Having more of that day-to-day consistency and just understanding how to go about that. That kind of flows into my next question, which was, what was like a more recent challenge you've experienced just in your day to day, whether it's food related or even just like movement related? It sounds like maybe that was one of the recent challenges that you're just learning to navigate.
Yeah, that's a recent challenge I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Been living together a little over a year now, so I
Yeah.
think we've worked out what we eat and when. But I also feel like I'm not afraid to go and do my own thing if I don't want to wait another hour for him to cook whatever he's having for dinner. Because if I'm hungry and I need to eat now, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to do what feels best for your body all the time, even if you're living with roommates or significant others. That's really important. I think another challenge that I've faced recently is, I think most dancers face this. This isn't recent. This is just like an all around issue. But especially once you get to a company, you're not going to have the same schedule every day. I might only have one rehearsal a day. and I come home really early, and then I'm just, bored and waiting and want to eat all day, basically. And then sometimes, like, there's really not as much time to eat. But, sometimes your stomach gets used to eating at, your lunch break every day, and then you get to the theater, and the lunch break is 2 hours later, and it's more of a dinner break, and you're confused. So just kind of like padding the in between with snacks and things to fuel you, I found really important. I like to pack lots of protein bars to the theater when we go.
Critical, planning ahead, right? Planning those snacks are critical, especially when your schedule is changing all the time. And this is exactly why I encourage dancers to have those emergency snacks, whatever it might be, bars, trail mix, um, fruit with nut butter, whatever it is, cheese, crackers, whatever it might be, whatever works for that dancer. But planning ahead is such an important factor. Ella, I am curious, any pre-performance rituals that you would like to share with us now? Just a little fun thing.
So, we all do our makeup and we have our things before performances, but I would like to say that I have like a no phone rule once I get to the
Mm-hmm.
theater. Once I get to the actual theater in the dressing room, it's fine. Other than when I am taking marketing content, because I do a lot of the social media for Miami City Ballet, which I love,
Mm-hmm.
and I can like tap in then. Sometimes I'm on the stage and I run off and I film something and run back on. It's a little unconventional, but it works for me.
Mm-hmm.
But that I like to focus once I get downstairs or upstairs, depending on the theater,
Mm-hmm.
on performance. And I'm always someone that likes to get downstairs or upstairs, as I said before, to
Mm-hmm.
like I like they're like a good 15 minutes before the show starts. There are some girls that'll be there right. I don't know, maybe 5 minutes before, and I lean more type A, so I like to be a
Mm-hmm.
little more prepared and just be fully warm and all of that before the show starts. So nothing like superstitious, I would
Yeah.
say, but that's just my schedule. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Just disconnecting a bit. It really helps to ground. This is a practice that I do myself and that I really try to instill with my kids also. It's very easy for between, with TVs, especially just for screens to really overcome us. And just being able to step away, disconnect, and relatively just do nothing, you know what I mean, is something that's incredibly helpful. Anything that you focus on outside of the studio that helps to really build balance for all of the work that you do inside the studio?
I'm really big into journaling, which
Mm.
doesn't tie back to ballet, but ties back to the healthy mind, healthy dancer. When I can, it used to be every day. Now it's like every 3 days. I just take like a mental check-in of, a few prompts, like what you're grateful for, what you've gone through in the past few days, what have you learned. Just kind of helps center me, maybe center the nervous system a little bit too. So that's what I use to kind of just keep in tune with mind and body, which helps for ballet, everything else I do in life.
Yeah, similar. I mean, it's such a helpful practice just to get some things on paper also. It's a practice that a lot of the dancers that I work with, we do on an ongoing basis as well. So I love hearing that it's still helping you even throughout your professional years. How would you redefine what it means to be the healthy dancer?
Okay, a healthy dancer, I've decided when you are happiest,
Mm.
period.
Mm-hmm.
Not when you are performing your dream roles or, nailing that triple pirouette in class. It's when you feel your best mentally and physically. I know that we do have our aches and pains that come with ballet. We all have experienced that. But just when you can walk in the ballet studio and have a day of rehearsals and just feel good, no stress. You know, I went through a short time period where I had a lot of injury stress, I had a lot of personal stress, and my body shut down a little bit. I had kind of some kidney issues that I had to work through, IBS, all of those things. And when your body is just not happy and it can't relax, I think that it doesn't even matter what you eat.
Mm.
You just need to like find a flow and be your happiest, and then everything body wise, at least for me, has worked out in the past. um so yeah, healthy dancer, healthy mind, healthy
Yeah.
mindset, what I would say.
Yeah. Stress is huge. Stress plays a huge role in how we're just able to move through our day and can
Yeah.
also place a lot of impacts on digestion and indigestion. I mean, there's a ton of connection between stress and then our relationship with food and our body. Ella, thank you so much for sharing your time with me today.
Yeah,
You've shared some beautiful insight with us, and I really appreciate it.
yeah, it was lovely to chat with you. Hopefully we can chat again next time I'm in the city and to meet you.
Absolutely. We will definitely connect and we'll keep in touch.
Okay, sounds good. Have a lovely day.